right, guys, today I had to bring in the man, the legend from Follow Up Boss. I've scourged the internet with different CRMs, including trying out CRMs like Total Expert and Go High Level. And even though I'm a loan officer and not a real estate agent, I just found that Follow Up Boss presented my team and my business with the best opportunity to manage leads and truly grow the way I needed to within my online platforms, within my lead gen platforms, and have one centralized space where all of my sales staff could work. And so the man who's been onboarding and training me and helping develop the culture within my team, within his by leveraging his CRM, Alejandro Estrada, and I'm super excited for this. So welcome, boss. Thanks for
Hey,
breaking through with us.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Is this the first time you do a podcast?
It's the first time that I've been on a podcast. Yeah.
That's awesome. So this will go on YouTube. So all your now you'll be famous. You'll be internet
Beautiful.
famous.
I can't wait.
It's so good. I was thinking about this while I was running because I was listening to some Kobe Bryant while I was running
Hmm.
this morning, and I was like, "Gosh, this guy's gonna live forever." And I was wild, and I got a little sad while I was running because I was like, I didn't get to appreciate and cherish who this man was while he was alive, and I got to do this now while I'm on the run or while I'm trying to get motivated for something. And what a
Yeah.
legend.
Oh my God, the legacy that we leave behind, and it's such an interesting, point that you bring up. I think that's commonplace for not just like people that are famous, right? It's just like the people around us. I don't think we acknowledge like how powerful and wonderful they are in a day-to-day, in the day-to-day setting. It's only when they're gone that we're like, holy crap, like this person meant a lot to me, or this person instilled me with XYZ values that I still value to this day and will pass on. So yeah, that's I mean, you're right. Like that's your legacy can be immortal depending on the impact that you have, even on one person.
Yeah. When people ask me why I work so hard now, I always say legacy. It's like
Hmm.
I want my last name to live beyond my years.
Totally.
I heard an interesting thing from Kanye though too, where he said he wanted to be forgotten, and I was like,
Oh,
yeah, that
really?
was an interesting take because he goes, "Do you know who invented the faucet or who invented?" And he went off naming all these simple things that are used in daily
Yeah.
life. He's like,
Yeah,
"Do you remember who invented this?" And I was like, "Oh wow, that's wild."
totally.
Um, are you like what is a daily routine for you like as far as like because you work hard, man. I can see it in when we connect and just how passionate you are about helping your customers and your partners. Like, what is a typical day in the life of Alejandro like?
Yeah, I mean, I wake up pretty early. I've actually been, I'll show you this. I have a little list of, I call it the list of things I do daily. And I put it on this little graph paper. I took a little vacation, as you can see that. So I just, I forgot about it during that time. But, like there's things that I want to make sure that I do daily. And it's not that I do them every single day, but it's the goal of doing them and being able to track whether or not I actually do something or not. Like there's one, so I'll just read them off to you. Exercise for 20 minutes, do a 2-minute cold shower, meditate, journal, um, take a multivitamin, drink 80 ounces of water, that type of thing. And there's one column that's just been like empty. That means I haven't done it for like, 7 days in a row, and it's journaling. So
Interesting. I
yeah,
just
and
wrote that down as my
yeah,
thing to ask you about. So let's
yeah,
elaborate on that.
yeah. So, like it's interesting that when you start tracking what you want to be doing daily, you get a measurement of that. And then you can see why it's happening or why it's not happening. Like for me, like the 80 ounces of water thing, super easy. I get that done every day. Taking a multivitamin, very, very easy. I remember to do it every day. Meditating, it's a little splotchy, right? Like it's not every day that I'm like willing to take the 5 minutes to just sit there and occur in the universe, right? It's
Mhm.
like difficult for me to do because I have so much stuff going on in my life that I'd rather do, like play a video game, for example, right after work to like decompress, etc. But journaling, what that's telling me is that I'm afraid to even start doing it, So this kind of thing, like whether it's, you know, bringing it back to Follow Up Boss, right? Like people love Follow Up Boss because it tracks things, right? It tracks agent activity. And the reason that's important is because you can't measure, or you can't improve what you can't measure. So we help teams track what their people are doing and what they're doing in order to help them understand what it is they actually want. Like for me, like bringing this back to my daily, habits that I want to create for myself, journaling, like, okay, Alejandro, you haven't journaled in 7 days. What's going on there? Right? What's going
So
on? Do you even want to do this?
when you say journaling, give me an example of like what journaling is like, because that's, I wrote that down, and when I think of journaling, I think of either a recap of my day or writing something that I need to do, and that becomes more of a checklist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I don't really have a standard or anything that I know that I want to write about. It's just, and that might be why I'm keeping myself from doing it, because I think it has to do with my judgment of myself, where it's like, I want to write something good. I want whatever I write in this journal to be good. So I'm like, oh, it might not be good. So I'm not even gonna do it.
Yeah.
So, like you bring up an interesting point where it's like, if you're clear on what the thing is, then you're more likely to do the thing,
Mhm.
right? And that's kind of interesting that a person in my position would be struggling with this, because that's what all I do all day with Follow Up Boss is I
Yeah.
make it very clear, like to owners and agents, like, here's how to do it. Here's why you should do it. Now just go do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Where in my life, I'm like, journal, like, and I don't know, like, what about, like, what should I write about, right? So if I have that clear understanding of what it is I'm going to be journaling about, then I'm much more likely to do it because I know how, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that little nugget.
No, yeah. I've been battling. That is one of the things. Writing has been one of the pieces that I'm missing. Like as I'm right, because Follow Up Boss is a platform built for agents, and I'm a loan officer using it, and I'm trying to change the role and the dynamic of how I use your platform. So I've actually been writing down all of the information on how I use it in comparison to an agent, having to build out my own action plans, my own
Yeah,
drips, my own email campaigns, because none of it is built out for us.
right.
So I just made a deal with myself. I'm gonna word vomit. And so I
Mm-hmm.
word and just that concept of word vomiting, and I have, dozens and dozens of pages now written out for how I'm gonna incorporate everything that I see in my brain into the platform. And I can't go in too deep, but key technologies,
Yeah,
the gal there and myself are now collaborating on some great items, and
that's wonderful.
hopefully we'll be able to put together something for the loan officers.
Yeah, I really appreciate what Elena Key does with her platform. It's good. It's helped a lot of people. Yeah, that's, you kind of bring up one of the success team's core values, which is bias toward action, and like I apply that to my work, but it's I think the mark of a really great company core value system is that those values really bleed into what you do in your life, right? Like I have a background in like luxury hotels. So in Laguna Beach in SoCal, there's a hotel called Montage, and I've seen like Jamie Foxx, Michael Jordan, Courtney Cox, Clint Eastwood, like superstars there, right? Like these are people that are world known, right? Um, and part of their mores, like their unifying principles of their culture is, we treat guests as lifelong friends, and that's always stuck with me,
Like that.
right? Um, so that's really what I try to bring into Follow Up Boss every day. Like when I'm interacting with you, like, what's up? how's
Yeah.
how's it going? How's Anthony doing? Right? Like, or how's Tony doing? Right? Like when when I'm know that I need to follow up with you, it's like I want to pull through, because like I don't want to let my friend down, So I'm, like I'm committed to doing that and like upholding that level of service, which is kind of like another interesting thing that has recently come into my worldview is like the gravity of what a commitment is,
Yeah.
because like the things I do daily, I've not committed to journaling, evidently,
Yeah.
right? Because if I had committed to journaling every day, then I would model my life around that commitment, right? That's what it takes.
Right.
So it would happen no matter what, and that's what a commitment actually is. So
Yeah.
just showing me, yeah, that's another kind of like a feedback thing that I've gotten just from this kind of like safe to fail experiment that I'm running.
So it's commitment is an interesting concept, and quickly I go, wow, you must not be married if you have that kind of commitment issue. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, commit. I've been battling with how I incorporate my training within martial arts into my schedule, and I thought to myself, because I haven't kickboxed in 2, 3 years, where I've been doing it consistently. I do it one off here, and it used to be such an important part of my life, where
Mm.
I would not, when I was living in San Diego and I was having to move to a different apartment every year, I would look for apartments that were close enough to my gym to where I knew it can embed into my schedule easily. And when I moved out here to Temecula, and I was like, it never even crossed my mind to make sure I had a good kickboxing gym or anything of that nature. And
Mhm.
now that I try to incorporate it, and while I know I want to commit to going back into the gym, it's like, how do I put it into my schedule? And now what I found was, as I started to play with this, was like, if it's not a daily discipline where it's a part of my schedule at the exact same time, it's almost impossible for me to enter anything into my life, because the only way I can add something is if it can work around all these different things that I'm already doing. And so one of my loan officers came to me recently and he goes, how do you manage all the different companies that you're a part of? And I go, I just time block. And if I'm working on X, I don't deal with Z at all. Like if I'm dealing with A, then B never can come into play because I'm only focused on A. And so I'm like, hey, I'll just give you a lesson on time blocks. I didn't think anything of it. But then as he walked away and I start thinking about it and I go, wow, it's just not a part of my schedule. So if I want to go back into training, if I want to start doing these extra things, now it's got to be a part of my schedule, because then it's an appointment with myself. And if it's an appointment with myself, I'm fucking keeping my appointment. Now I've missed our appointments before, so that probably doesn't mean anything. But
But listen, like life
it's like
happens and
that's
like priorities change, right?
yeah.
Like the one appointment that you did miss, like it was because of a very important life event.
Yeah, my flight got
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's not like that's not we should be gracious with ourselves and allow ourselves the ability to make mistakes, etc. But like you're saying, your goals, your commitments, they need a time and they need a time and space to live.
Yeah,
And if for me, that might be another thing where it's like I might have to just incorporate journaling into my schedule, block off
yeah,
the 5 minutes, and
yeah,
like you're saying, maybe that could be the fix. And like I guess bringing this back and like kind of taking a step back, because I work for Follow Up Boss. It's a system, and like systems are great if they work for you, right?
yeah,
If you understand like how valuable they are and you see the value, then they'll work, right? But if you don't, like you can put 30 things on your calendar, but if you don't do the things, then it doesn't benefit you. You just
yeah,
are just like wasting time. You're
yeah,
wasting time, your money, maybe. And so yeah, like that's another cool thing, not to plug Follow Up Boss again, but like, you've you're in an industry that Follow Up Boss wasn't necessarily designed for, but you're adapting it to your industry, right? And so that's what's cool about this platform, is that you can make it your own, right?
yeah.
we have
No,
we have personal trainers that use it.
it's been incredible. We burned the ships. We were on Monday.com and Go High Level. And it was probably the day after I met with you and I got a little bit of a better understanding.
Mhm.
I said, sales guys, full steam ahead on this platform. We set up all our zaps to go right into Follow Up Boss.
Nice.
And I exported everybody's leads. I put them in a Follow Up Boss, which was super easy.
Yeah.
And and now where it's like we're in and there's no going back. Like the system is really improved. Like who we communicate with, how many times we communicate with, and we're in the early stages of the development. It's
Yeah.
just, I would love to hear from you some of the success stories that you've had with coaching owners and agents and taking them from like, wherever they were at into like, a whole nother level where they
Yeah.
can directly say, follow up boss is one of the core reasons why we were able to succeed.
For sure. Like without naming names, like there's an account that I had early on, maybe like 6 months after I started. It was a 3-user grow account. And now they're like a 25 user platform account. And they're like, we wouldn't have been able to do this if it weren't for Follow Up Boss. Like they've grown, from 3 people, a 3-person team to a 25-person team within a year and a half because they were able to do everything Follow Up Boss does for their team, right? Track everything, measure it, have like a concrete system that everyone understands and everyone can just do, right? No excuses, right? Like if you're, they're able to get their systems laid out in a way that those 3 users were like, oh, dude, this is way better than what I was doing. I'm so much more organized, not only my database, but also my time. Like I can just block off an hour, like you're saying, and do all the Follow-Up Boss stuff and then go run my appointments or whatever. And then I have all this free time and I've put myself in front of all these different people and I'm just waiting for those communications to come through. Like they're doing way more activity in way less time. So they were able to utilize that system and just hire people that they're like, hey, this is what we expect you to do. Okay. And the person's like, sure, I get it. And then boom, like they didn't even have to contact me for a majority of the new users that they brought on because their system was just laid out so clearly and they understood it at enough to that level where they were just, here you go, boom, boom, boom. You're the right fit for our team. We think you'd be a great member. Here's what is expected and do the thing. And they did. Right. So they're just growing into, one of the main teams in their market. And like, I can't tell you how many people approach me at the different events that we go to because we go to a lot of like real estate conferences and stuff to just represent. And people are like, Alejandro, like I just got to shake your hand. They're like, thank you. Thank you so much. Like people walk up to our booth and they're just like, thank you so much. They like slam the desk because they're so stoked on like what Follow Up Boss has been able to get them to do with their teams. They're from people that are just scattered and like, I don't know, I think I'm doing this right to I know exactly what I'm doing every single day.
Yep.
That's and I'm really excited right now. I'm like, this is how I get, this is like the feeling that I get with a lot of my calls because, I like bringing people, like showing people the light basically in terms of like, here's the system. This is actually going to work, and they're like, holy shit, thank you so much. This is what I need. And I'm like, you're welcome.
No, absolutely it works. I think I'm at like 20% of what the system can do, and
Mhm.
it's just been monumental. And I'm, out there praising you guys. I got another big loan officer team that's about to jump into your system. As a matter of fact, I'm on a call with your head of relationships, Ricardo.
Yeah, Ricardo.
I'm on a call with him on Monday so I can
Fucking
have
love that
my
guy.
partners come over. And then every real estate, I have like 6 follow-up boss accounts now because every agent that wants to work with me or go into any type of advertising partnership, I'm saying, okay, but what's your CRM? Oh, it's Boomtown. Hey, you gotta jump ship. You gotta convert. And I think I'm pushing this out like Tom Cruise pushes out Scientology. Um,
Nice.
That's incredible, man. You mentioned people in the fitness industry are using Follow Up Boss.
Yeah, like
That's
there's
insane.
a bunch of different industries, like roofers, just anyone that needs to manage
That's
leads.
just the context here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What
It's
is when you think of a CRM as defined in the common era, like how do you define a CRM?
Yeah, like what I would define it as is, I mean, an effective CRM manages organizes your database and organizes your time. Um, not every CRM does the latter, right? Most CRMs are focused on the former, which is just organizing your database. And, that's to varying degrees of effectiveness, right? Like there are some that do it very well. And there's some that, I'm not going to name names, but like there are some that don't do it so well, right? They don't organize your leads very well. The second half of that is organizing your time. And that's where I think Follow Up Boss really shines, because you don't have to think about who to reach out to. Our smart lists just show you, right? Um, you can set up your lead flows so that a text goes out automatically from the agent that it's assigned to. And that's speed to lead just taken care of right there. There's, of course, a lot you can do that, uh, we're ongoing, like on an ongoing basis, digging into and seeing how we can leverage these more advanced features. But that's the mark of an actual of a real true CRM, in my opinion, is it organizes your database and it organizes your time. And like, the way that we organize your time, it's like time is a super valuable resource, and we try to make our platform is refined, right? Our platform is has a degree of capability. It's a very capable platform, and so the more capable you become as a platform, the more complexity is involved in that platform. I think Follow Up Boss is really good at being highly capable but highly usable, right? We make it so that, like, if you want to know what's going on under the hood, then we'll show you. Here you go. You can do all of this stuff, right? And that's like what, you as a relatively new user, you're digging into that stuff. As an owner of an account, you're like, where can we take this? And we're like, let's show you, right? But as an agent, I don't need to know all that stuff. What I need to know is how to do it and why I should do it, right?
Yeah.
And I need to just see the results, right? Like,
Yeah.
is this helping me? Yes. Is it not? No. Then we can go from there. But I can step in as an agent, not knowing anything about, like the
Anything.
inner workings, and have it be an effective tool for me to use, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think, separates us from most other CRMs. It's like we're highly capable but highly usable in
Yeah.
so many words.
Yeah. And, I haven't developed on the use of Smart List, but one of the training programs that I'm trying to develop through my coaching is what to do at what time. And I wrote out this big content piece on what do you do Monday at 8 a.m. What do you do Monday at 10 a.m. What are you doing Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Hmm.
Right? And now it's like, as you were talking, and I was like, oh, I think this is going to be able to solve that, because I might be able to just automate. Hey, on Mondays we're calling this group of people, on Tuesdays we're calling this group of people, on Wednesdays we're calling this group of people. Here are some overlaps that you need to be able to attract Thursdays and Fridays. And as I go in and I start to disposition the different places of the lead, whether it goes from lead all the way to close escrow and past client, like how to nurture them. And taking a new loan officer, see, here's my end goal: taking a new loan officer who's never been in the industry,
Mhm.
and then just going, here you go, here's our platform, here's where you call, here's where you text, and here's everybody that you're calling on Monday, and automatically have it synced in so that when they upload their database, or I'm giving them a portion of my database, that it's automatically flows for them to go Monday at 8 a.m. These are all the people that I need to call, and this is how my day is going to structure. And it can automate, right, their commitment on who they have to be attracting and who they have to be calling and what their day is going to look like every single day of the week, and
Mhm.
hopefully every hour of the week, because then it gives them the ability to focus more on today is my day to call all of my people who are out making offers.
Right.
Tuesday, I'm calling all my past client database.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a really interesting, because you phrased it this way. You're like, I'm going to focus on X and not Z, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and that's like the goal of Follow Up Boss is like, okay, cool, we know you have a million things going on, but right now when you're in Follow Up Boss, what do? Here's what you do, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think if getting granular like that, what you're saying, like Friday at 2 p.m., whatever, like even down to the hour, I think that's like that's an ambitious goal. I think that's going to be wonderful to see that pan out, because a lot of people just need direction. They being an agent, being a loan officer probably is generally a very free form profession. No one's making you come into an office necessarily, especially if you're a real estate agent. It's just what the activities that you put in is what's going to result in you getting paid. So giving agents that option of like, cool, whether you're doing this from home or whether you're in an office doing this is what you do. All right. This is what you make sure to do. And then on the other side of that, giving owners or, an admin staff the ability to see that and hold people accountable to what they say they're going to do or what they agreed that they're going to be doing is another like very important aspect of Follow Up Boss. Like we track it all. So if you're not putting up the hard numbers, then like what's going on, right? What's going on? What's getting in the way? How can we?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't make your calls. It took you 3 days to follow up with this lead. What happened?
Exactly.
One thing that I love in your platform was as I started building out the text templates for my team,
mm-hmm.
and I'm very very disciplined on forcing, like, after your day 1 call, this is what I want you to text. Day 2 call, your system is monitoring how many replies we're getting for each text message.
Mm-hmm.
And it started telling me, hey, this text message sucks. You may want to reconsider revising it. And so yesterday I went in and I started revising text messages. And I'm like, wow, this is beta testing for me automatically. This is huge.
For sure. Like we love that aspect of the system. It's very malleable, like we were saying earlier. It's like version 1, how's that working? No. Version 2, boom, today, right now. Edit the template right now and just see how that works, because then we'll get like that real-time feedback of whether the changes that we're making are effective or whether they're not. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because like I said, there's so much to discuss with Follow Up Boss. I don't know if it would all be able, if we'd be able to do that all in one call, but man, like I love the company and what we do for mostly what we do for teams, right? Like helping people. Like my favorite customer to deal with is a brand new agent who has never is like just got licensed, right? Because they have a little bit of insight into the industry, but they haven't developed the bad habits. So when they are given this like super powerful tool and then just get ingrained with the good habits, they take off quickly. And they're like, this is normal, So whenever we get that, like most people start here, but you started here, those are the people that push the industry, right? Those are the people that are the next like visionaries that create the next amazing thing that then the rest of the people use. So it's cool to help be a part of that in that way.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your partnership, and so Follow Up Boss is great, and I love the platform. But what is Alejandro like when he's not working on Follow Up Boss? Like, what are some of the daily activities when we were off camera, you talked about being a fitness coach.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, like, are you still passionate about fitness? And like, what are some of the things you've learned within your fitness career that you've been able to embed into your professional career?
Yeah. So I was a personal trainer at Equinox for about 3 years, and it was really fun. It was really, really fun. It taught me a lot about mostly just change. Taught me a lot about change. And change in terms of changing a person and how it's impossible. You can't change people. But what you can do is like, there's really one thing that leads to anyone changing, and it's pain. Pain leads people to change, because
Absolutely.
my clients, they would come to me because they had back pain. They're like, I've had this persistent back pain and I can't, or it was too painful for them to be so fat or something, right? It was too painful for them to be so weak. Whatever that pain was, that's like the pain point that you guys know is better than anyone as a salesperson, right? So it's that pain that's going to lead anyone to make any type of change. That was the big lesson that Equinox and my personal training career brought to me, because I still, like I still fall into that, like I know what it takes to be, fit and healthy, but sometimes I'm like just comfortable, and I'm like, I got a little bit of core definition, like I'm fine, doing
Yeah.
good. But then I go on vacation, and then I come back and I'm like, shit, you know, like I'm there, it's gone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And now then at that point, it's painful for me enough. It's painful enough for me to like watch what I eat and, go out into the world and exercise and do that stuff, hit the bag or whatever. So it's like, until it gets to that point where it hurts enough.
Yeah.
And look, like, I'm a fan of pain. I love pain because
Yeah.
of that, right? Like, because it's the catalyst for anyone to change, pain, discomfort, that kind of thing. Like, the other side of that coin is having enough foresight so that, like, what you don't want to, where you don't want to end up, right? Like, it's like, do I want to be broke? No, then I'm going to get a job or something, or I'm going to pick up the phone, something like that, right? Where you can motivate yourself through that, like, imagined discomfort or pain of ending up a bum or whatever it is that you don't want to become. So yeah, like that's really the huge lesson that coaching taught me. And like a lot of soft skills. I think, from my hotel background and then going into personal training, like, it's a lot of dealing with people. It's a lot of kind of like, I mean, coaching is very intimate, like, interaction, right? You're literally like exposing a person's physical weakness. And for a lot of people, it's like difficult to face, and it's difficult to like understand and be like, okay, that's where I'm at, right? Because we all have this like idea of who we are or what we're capable of, but then we put it to the test, and if it's like less than what we thought, then it's very humbling and it's painful. Right? So that's what's going to keep us going. So that's, like that was the big, like, life lesson takeaway from Equinox and just my personal training journey was pain is not bad. Pain makes us change, and it's the only thing that makes us change. Like, you can't make someone change. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, I put myself through pain every single day. I torture myself every day in the workout room. Every
Yep.
single day I make my workouts it hurts to the point where, there's times I'm shaking. There's times I'm just on the side, just sitting there like, what the fuck just happened for these last 2 hours? The caveat is then I go kill it by eating a burrito, which is why the definitions are on the sides of my abs, not, you know.
Totally.
But it hasn't been painful enough. When you were talking about Equinox, I remembered I tried to join Equinox in downtown LA,
Mm.
and I got so intimidated by the people there because they were so beautiful. I was like, wow, you have to be a hard eight and like an LA 8 in order to be able to come here.
That's so,
And
yeah. Hard
I
ALAA. It's like almost an unattainable standard. Like, it's
I I was in there with guys that had abs on top of abs, and I was like, I don't belong here. Like, I'm not, like, they were so gorgeous. I went there for like a month, and I was just like, I can't, guys. I'm
can't
all
do it.
set. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
it's funny, like, because I started in Berkeley, and like, beautiful people still there, but also, like, college students and professors and people that wanted to move and learn about their bodies because they wanted to be healthy, right? And I transferred down to Irvine, And I won't, like say that necessarily the club, but like people there were not necessarily concerned with their health. They were more concerned with their appearance. And that's like, it actually ended up being the catalyst for me seeking to my career change. Cause I was like, I don't want to work with people that value this above all else. Like that's not what I want to do. Like I want to make an impact, like a more profound impact on someone's life than just like helping them look a certain way so that other people will look at them a certain way.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, that's not what I want to do. Like the reason I have so much fun at Follow Up Boss is because real estate agents and people in the industry are typically very friendly and they love people, but also they typically value personal development, right? They're like, hey, if I'm fucking up, it's because of me. And I'm not blaming my CRM. I'm not blaming my lead provider or whatever. It's me. I'm in control. So that to me is something that I really appreciate about like people that are in the real estate industry and just any sales job, any sales role is personal development like the whole time. Because if you're not making your numbers, if you're not making your sales or whatever, that's on you. That is on you. So I mean, really, you can extrapolate that to everything in life, right? That's why I love personal development, because it's such a eye opener and it just brings you back to the reality of things, as opposed to like pretending you're a certain way or just hoping and wishing. And it's like, no, you're steering the ship. You're the one in control.
Being a commissioned employee, I've been a commissioned employee since I left university. 1 year after I left when I left university, I became a commissioned employee. There's probably only
a long time ago. I'm kidding.
I recently got told I was 50 years old by somebody.
What? Wait, how old are you?
I'm 33.
Oh,
I look terrible for 33, but I've been in the mortgage industry for almost a decade. So
that's what it does.
This is what it gives you, the ultimate dad bod. It's like you got a little bit of muscle up top, but then you just like down here is like just cut it off right here. I train my media guys, like all my videos are like here up. Try to show a little cleavage, but
that's so funny.
It's interesting, man. Orange County's a different monster, man.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I go to the Irvine Spectrum, I feel so uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't belong here. I got recruited by one of my buddies who's a top loan officer, and his boss, when they were starting a company, and they had me go out to Newport a bunch as they were trying to build the managers that they were going to select. And I was blessed enough to be one of the guys that they were recruiting. And as I was out there, I was like, dude, I just can't, man. Like, I just don't feel like I can be successful amongst this crowd because it doesn't suit my persona. It's not who I am. I'm just not that way. I'm also too raw, and I'm not educated enough to be able to manage a conversation past a couple objections without getting emotional. So, and it's better for me not to go into that realm and for me to stay more where the people are a little bit more humble. And even though the transactions are a little dirtier, it's just more of my type of persona, and so I thrive in Riverside, San Bernardino County because this is more of my type of individuals. And so it just, Orange County's a unique breed. Hey, brother, we've been on here for about 45 minutes, man. Yeah. So I told you to go by fast. And
yeah, it did. I'm like, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, well, we lose audiences right about this point.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, man, I truly appreciate what you're doing for me and my team and the partnership we've been able to develop within Follow Up Boss. And I look forward to expanding on it and bringing more of my contacts into your platform. And I just really appreciate you as an individual for not only taking the time to talk to me, but for embarking on this journey with me as I try to bring loan officers to your platform.
Proud to be here with you.
If there's anything I can do for you ever, man, we really appreciate it and consider you a friend now. And so
hell yeah,
we're here.
I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for expressing that to me. And yeah, it was a joy to be here. Again, like this conversation was I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but it was so enjoyable. So thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, until next time.
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks,
All
brother.
right.
All right, talk soon.
Later. Bye.
Peace out. Bye.